There's a strange mix of excitement and concern surrounding the New York Yankees right now. And if you've been paying close attention to what's happening on the field, especially during spring training, you can feel that tension building. On one hand, there are flashes of promise, moments that make you think this team could be dangerous in 2026. But on the other hand, there are some very real issues that just refuse to be ignored, particularly when you look at the back end of the starting rotation. That's where the conversation really starts to heat up. The Yankees are dealing with a situation where opportunities are wide open, especially with key arms not currently anchoring the rotation. This should be the moment for certain pitchers to step up and lock in their roles, to prove that they belong in those crucial fourth and fifth spots. Instead, what we're seeing hasn't exactly inspired confidence. There's been inconsistency, lack of command, and performances that leave you scratching your head rather than feeling reassured. And look, it's spring training, everyone knows that. It's not the regular season. The intensity is different, and players are still finding their rhythm. But even with that in mind, you can usually tell when someone is trending in the right direction or when something just feels off. Right now, there are a couple of arms that simply don't look sharp. The results aren't there, the execution isn't clean, and when you're trying to earn a role on a team with expectations like the Yankees, that becomes a problem very quickly. What makes it even more frustrating is that the opportunity is right there. This isn't a situation where someone is buried on the depth chart with no real shot. This is the opposite. There are openings, there are innings available, and there's a chance to cement yourself as a key piece of the rotation heading into the season. When that opportunity isn't taken advantage of, it stands out even more. There have been outings that just can't happen, even in March. Giving up multiple runs, allowing the long ball to become a recurring issue, struggling to put hitters away when you're ahead in the count. Those are the kinds of things that raise red flags. It's not just about the numbers, it's about how those numbers come together. When the ball starts flying out of the park and hitters look comfortable in the box, that's when concerns start to grow. At the same time, there have been glimpses of depth that could become important as the season approaches. When a reliever steps in and delivers multiple scoreless innings, that's something you take note of. That's the kind of performance that quietly builds a case for a bigger role. It may not grab headlines, but internally, those are the outings that matter. They show composure, they show control, and they show the ability to handle pressure situations, even in a spring setting. And that brings up a bigger picture discussion about how this pitching staff is shaping up. There's a sense that while the top-end talent can carry its weight, the supporting cast needs to be reliable. You can't have a situation where everything falls apart once you move past the front of the rotation or the late innings of the bullpen. Contending teams don't work like that. They need stability from top to bottom, and right now, that's still a question mark. Interestingly, there are reasons to feel good about certain parts of the bullpen. Some arms have shown the ability to navigate tough situations, even when they put themselves in trouble. That resilience matters. Getting out of jams, stranding runners, and maintaining composure against high-level hitters. Those are traits you want in late-inning pitchers. When you see that happening consistently, it builds confidence heading into the regular season. But even with that optimism, there's still this lingering feeling that another move could be coming. The Yankees have shown before that they're not afraid to make adjustments right before the season begins. It doesn't always have to be a blockbuster, but even a subtle addition can make a difference over the course of a long year. Whether it's adding another arm or reinforcing a weak spot, those decisions can end up playing a major role down the line. And while the pitching conversation is front and center, the offensive side hasn't been perfect either. There are players who are putting together solid springs, showing good timing at the plate, and producing the kind of at-bats you want to see. But then there are others who just haven't found their groove yet. Low batting averages, lack of impact, and at-bats that feel flat. Those are things that stand out, especially when you're expecting more from certain names. It's one thing to struggle early, but it's another when that struggle starts to become a pattern. You want to see adjustments, you want to see signs of progress, even if the results aren't fully there yet. When those signs are missing, it creates a level of uncertainty that can carry into the regular season if it's not addressed. Still, not everything has been negative. There are players who look different in a good way, more confident, more composed, and more in control of what they're doing at the plate. Sometimes it's a mechanical adjustment, sometimes it's just a mindset shift, but you can see it. The approach looks cleaner, the swings look more direct, and the overall presence feels stronger. Those are the kinds of developments that can lead to breakout seasons if they carry over when the games start to count. And that's what makes this team so intriguing right now. It's not a finished product, far from it, but the pieces are there. The question is whether those pieces are going to come together at the right time, or if these early warning signs are going to turn into bigger issues once the spotlight gets brighter and the pressure starts to build. As the spotlight shifts away from inconsistencies on the mound, the conversation naturally moves toward the players who are beginning to create genuine excitement with what they're showing at the plate. And this is where things start to feel a little different, because there are signs of growth that go beyond just numbers on a scoreboard. You can see it in the approach, in the confidence, in the way certain hitters are carrying themselves during their at-bats. It's not just about getting hits, it's about how those hits are coming and whether the process behind them looks sustainable. One of the most intriguing developments so far has been the transformation in the batter's box from some of the younger talent. There's a noticeable shift in mechanics, a cleaner path to the ball, and a more controlled presence overall. When a hitter looks more direct, more decisive, it often translates into better results over time. And right now, there's at least one bat in this lineup that feels like it's on the verge of something much bigger than just a solid season. There's a growing belief that a breakout campaign could be right around the corner, the kind that changes how people view a player entirely. We're talking about legitimate power potential, the ability to drive the ball out of the park consistently, and not just in favorable situations. The kind of production that puts a player in a different category, where opposing pitchers start to game plan differently, where every at-bat carries weight. And if that leap happens, it could reshape the entire dynamic of the lineup. Because when you start stacking that kind of production alongside established stars, that's when an offense becomes dangerous. It's no longer just one or two names carrying the load. It becomes a collective threat, a lineup that doesn't give pitchers a break from the first inning to the ninth. That's what the Yankees are trying to build, and glimpses of that vision are starting to appear, even if everything hasn't fully clicked yet. There's also something to be said about confidence, especially in a long season. When a hitter believes in their adjustments, when they trust their swing, it shows in subtle ways. The takes are better, the contact is more consistent, and even the outs can look productive. That's the kind of foundation that leads to sustained success, not just short bursts of performance. And for a team that needs internal growth as much as external contributions, that's a major development. At the same time, there are still players who haven't quite found that rhythm. You watch their at-bats, and it feels like something is missing. The timing is off, the contact isn't as sharp, and the overall impact just isn't there. Spring training is supposed to be a time to work through those issues, but as the calendar starts to move closer to opening day, the urgency begins to increase. You can't carry too many question marks into the regular season, especially in a division that demands consistency. And that's where roster decisions start to come into play. There are only so many spots available, and performances during this stretch can influence who makes the cut and who starts the year in a different role. It's not always about long-term potential. Sometimes it's about who is ready right now. That balance between development and immediate production is something every organization has to manage, and for the Yankees, it feels particularly important this year. There are also situations where a player might be performing well, but still not have a clear path to everyday playing time at the major league level. In those cases, the decision isn't always about talent, it's about opportunity. Getting regular at-bats, staying sharp, continuing to develop. Sometimes it means starting the season elsewhere, even if the ability is already there. It's not a setback, it's part of the bigger picture. Meanwhile, the veterans in the lineup continue to set the tone in their own way. Even on days when the results aren't perfect, the presence alone matters. There's an expectation that comes with experience, a standard that younger players can look to. And when those veterans deliver moments of impact, whether it's a deep drive that just misses leaving the yard or a strong defensive play, it reinforces why they're such an important part of the team's identity. Defensively, There have been flashes that remind you how much value can come from a single play. Taking away extra bases, making a difficult throw look routine, or shutting down an aggressive base runner. Those moments can shift momentum in ways that don't always show up in the box score. It's another layer of the game that this team seems to be emphasizing, and it can make a difference in close contests. Beyond the team itself, the broader baseball landscape has added another level of intensity to this stretch. International competition has brought together some of the best talent in the world, and the level of play has been nothing short of electric. Tight games, high-pressure situations, and elite matchups have created an environment where every pitch feels significant. For players involved in those moments, it's an opportunity to sharpen their edge before the regular season even begins. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.